Hey everyone, Jordan here with 9 to 5 Toys, and today we're going to be taking a look at some new mice from Razer. Razer's been coming out with a bunch of new technology lately, and that has to do with the new Focus Plus sensor and also their optical mouse switches. Razer has brought both of these new technologies into some of their old favorites, the DeathAdder V2 and the Basilisk V2. So let's check them out. Thanks for watching 9 to 5 Toys. Be sure to like, subscribe, and enable notifications with the bell icon so you don't miss any upcoming videos. So the DeathAdder has probably been one of the most iconic gaming mice since it came out in 2006. It's well known for its ergonomic design and has been, a favorite for a lot of gamers. Razer says they sold over 10 million of these mice in the 30 different variations that they've had since it came out. So of course it makes sense to upgrade a fan favorite like this with some of their newer technology in the DeathAdder V2. So for the most part, Razer hasn't changed much on the overall design of the DeathAdder V2 since the latest generations. That's one of the reasons why it's so popular is because of that ergonomic design, so of course they don't want to change that too much. One notable change though is the weight, which is down to 82 grams instead of the 105 in the previous generation. This will probably come down to a matter of preference, whether you like that or not, for a lighter mouse, but it seems to be that the industry is moving towards lighter mice, and so I think Razer wanted to lighten this one up a little bit for their latest generation. And combine that weight with the 100% PTFE mouse feet down here, and the DeathAdder feels really great when you're using it. And while we're looking at the bottom of the mouse, obviously one of the big changes is this new Focus Plus sensor. This new 20K DPI sensor also packs 650 IPS or inches per second for tracking movement. It can also auto-calibrate to new surfaces if you change what kind of material you're using the mouse on. And you can designate a tracking distance height cutoff from 1 to 3 millimeters, and you can do that within the Razer Synapse application. And really all this means that the mouse tracks and performs really well. It feels really good when you're using it. I'd be surprised if anybody actually uses 20,000 DPI. I usually play at 400, but the accuracy of this sensor is just really incredible. And the other main upgrade in the DeathAdder V2 is the optical mouse switches. Like the Huntsman keyboard, these switches use light instead of metal contacts to send the signal. Supposedly this makes actuation faster, but I can't really notice that, and I think that's kind of hard to tell. But what you can notice, or at least one of the other benefits, is the longevity of these switches. They're rated to 70 million clicks over the standard 50 million clicks found on most mechanical switches. So I've been using the Basilisk Ultimate since it came out and really enjoying it. It feels really good. I love the hyperspeed wireless and the optical switches. That being said, it did feel really good to start using the DeathAdder again and get back to that ergonomic design. One thing though, one gripe that I have with the DeathAdder V2 is that even though it has the same optical switches in here, there's a little more resistance on the right click on the DeathAdder V2. Feels like I have to push just a little bit harder, which is something I wasn't totally used to, than what I have to push on the Basilisk Ultimate. And as you can see on here with the Basilisk, there's a completely separate button over here that you're pushing down. Whereas with the DeathAdder V2, it's all a part of that outer shell. And so maybe just the way it's designed, there's a little bit more resistance in there, but you do have to put a little bit more pressure down. And it's not that terrible. It's not that big of a difference or, anything that makes it unusable, but it was something that I noticed and took a little bit of getting used to. And let's take a quick look at the Basilisk V2. Basically, this just looks like a wired version of the Basilisk Ultimate that we just had over here, without the chroma features on the side. So you have the same optical switches, you have the same 20,000 DPI Focus Plus sensor on the bottom, and the same customizability with all the different programming you can do on the buttons. There are 11 different buttons on here that you can set to do whatever features you want, so highly customizable mouse. You can even change the resistance of the scroll wheel with this dial down here, which is something we've seen across the entire Basilisk line, even from the very first one that I got to take a look at, which was the Mercury White edition. And you can see they've changed the design a little bit since then. The mouse does look a little bit different. You can kind of see where the buttons are. There's a little bit of a different design. And then another one of the main features of the Basilisk is this thumb paddle that sits up here. I think when it first came out, the first time I took a look at it with the Mercury White edition, they called it a DPI clutch. which is obviously something you can use it for if you wanted to set that to be a button that would increase your DPI while you were holding that. So, if you wanted to do a quick 360 turn or 180 turn or something like that, you could hold it and move a little bit quicker. But you can also set it to do any other variety of functions that you would like. When I was talking to one of the guys at the Razer suite at CES 2020, he mentioned that he uses a 10 keyless keyboard, so he doesn't have any media controls or any function keys or anything like that. And so what he does is he maps this to basically be another function button where he can hold that and then, push a button on his keyboard to play and pause media or skip to the next track or volume up and down or page up, page down, that kind of stuff. So really you can do anything you want with this paddle. I think they call it the Hypershift paddle, but you can also just remove it. It comes uninstalled, so that's an option for you to put that in there if you want to use it. So overall, I think that these are great updates to two mice from Razer, two classic mice that they're just bringing up to speed in 2020 with all the latest technology. Obviously the DeathAdder V2, it's always been wildly popular. I'm sure it's going to be wildly popular too. But now that the new version is out, you can also get a really good deal on the older version. I think I saw on Amazon the DeathAdder Elite was going for about $30, which is still a really great mouse. It's got the 16K DPI sensor in there and still a great deal for $30. These new ones, the DeathAdder V2 comes in at $70 and the Basilisk V2 is $80. So they're not the cheapest, but with those optical switches and everything built into these, they should last for a long time. And I think they look great and they feel really good too. So what do you think of the new mice from Razer, the DeathAdder V2 and the Basilisk V2? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. This is Jordan with 9to5 Toys.